Hi, everybody. Rick DiClemente here with Astrology Unplugged. Forgive me tonight for the horse in my throat, but that's just the way this um chemo and radiation happens to go. And thankfully, I got 5 more days. That's it. I'm so happy. And things are looking good, and I'll be very grateful. Now, last week, you remember, we had 4 people chosen to be read for, and Rick and Claudia did the first 2. I'm doing the other 2 tonight, which is Taylor Swift and Simone Biles. Now, you're going to find some really fascinating things tonight in their charts, and they're going to show you some things that you don't think about normally. But when Simone Biles had her dismissal from, she dismissed herself from the scene because she wasn't feeling it. She wasn't feeling right. I knew immediately that Neptune was on her. It's exactly what happened. Let me show you. Now I'm going to explain this to you. Okay. Okay. Now, everybody, Neptune was right here. Neptune was right there. 20 on the descendant, approaching the sun, just gone off of Venus. It was right there. Okay, now notice she's got Moon opposite Pluto across the ascendant, which is very, very strong. You're gonna have to put up with me tonight. Let me know if you can't hear. I've turned it up already, but I just don't have any volume. So let me know if you have trouble hearing.
You're good, Rick.
Okay,
Even in the car.
good. Now, thank you. When Neptune goes over you, like it did to Steve Blass in 1975. Here you got a World Series pitcher in 71. He's one of the dominating pitchers in all of baseball. In 75, he could no longer find the strike zone. Couldn't throw a strike. He got traded. They tried it. They tried him pitching halfway on his knees. They tried everything they could think of. He just lost a strike zone. And it's called the Steve Blass disease because the pitcher can't aim. They don't aim, they just throw. They look and they throw. The last thing you want to do is aim. So he lost the ability, and the same thing happened to Simone. Now, it wasn't that Neptune came along and said, hey, let's screw you up when you're in the middle of the air above the balance beam. That's not how Neptune works. But most people, 99 point something people, have no idea how to deal with Neptune. They don't know it's there. They don't know how to deal with it. And she called it the what? The
The
Willies?
twisties. She had the twisties.
She said she had the twisties, which meant she'd get up in the air doing a twisting. She didn't know where she was. She said it's very dangerous and that I can't continue. Oh, Ray Apter is with us tonight. There's a name from the past. Hi, Susan. Okay, well, when Neptune is on you, you have to understand there's a very positive force. But most people don't have any idea that it's there or any idea how to use it. And what Neptune does is it erases your boundaries. Why does Neptune, the supreme planet, why does it leave you without your boundaries because it's trying to take you home. And when you go home, there are no boundaries. But when you're a gymnast and you're used to 3D and you're used to flipping and coming back down with gravity and all that, etc., you can see this happening with Steve Blass. You can see it happen with Simone Biles. So she did the right thing, thank God. And I'm glad more, I'm sorry about my throat. I'm glad more people didn't give her a hard time about it. Well, you see how phenomenal she is. And you're going to see in her chart why. So, she's a little Pisces. Of course, they're all little to be gymnasts. My friend in college used to coach women, and he coached this woman called, I can't remember any names anymore. What's the girl from West Virginia's name? Mary Lou Retton. My friend used to coach Mary Lou Retton. He would tell us all, hey, man, I got this girl named Mary Lou Retton, and man, is she outrageous. And we're all going, yeah, 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 yeah. Sure you do. And then he gave her to that other European coach who upped her even better than she won her Olympics. And I had another friend in the same group that coached a guy named Randy Moss. And we said, yeah, 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 he's going to be the greatest receiver ever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we sure. Ended up being one of the top two. So sometimes your friends are telling you the truth. Okay, now getting back to this this chart here. You can see starting out with Simone, I cannot emphasize enough to you, so I will slow down and use my Rick voice. I cannot emphasize enough to you the power of planets when they are on the angles.
Yep.
I've been doing this 46 years, and I didn't even appreciate that till after about 40 years. Pluto, Moon, Sun, Venus, Mars, 6 planets. Not only do the planets become more powerful, but they totally dominate the charts. And I don't care whether you're Pisces or not, you're not really a Pisces when you get this Aries and this Virgo quality, when you got this Scorpio Sag quality, when you got this Leo quality from the sun, even though it's in Pisces, when you get these Cancer qualities with the moon there. This is why she's so outrageous. This is the reason, because these 4 planets are so phenomenally strong. Now, I'm going to take you back to 1945 and 1946. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a show on just the people like Stephen Stills and Van Morrison and these phenomenal musicians, Paul Simon, that have Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune. No, I'm sorry. I am wrong. They have Jupiter, Neptune, and Chiron. Okay, but in any sense, this triplicate here is extremely strong. The one in 46 is Jupiter, Neptune, Chiron. This one is Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune. I remember this happening in 1987. Whenever you got a triplicate, just think to yourself, well, you got a powerful Neptune next to Uranus. What the hell would that do? You got powerful Uranus next to Jupiter. My God, what would that do? You get powerful Jupiter next to Neptune, which is godly. This is where she gets these ungodly abilities. Plus, she's a Pisces. No, not now. Not now. Don't bug me. No. Liza, she's going to need her food 1 hour early. Well, just get her at the door, please. Thank you. She knows what time it is. Okay, now, when you start combining planets like this, there's no way you can do it. You can get the best astrologers in the world. There's no way that you can combine this and really give a good answer to what it means because it's so unbelievably powerful. The sign that it's in is important, yes. Aquarius, Aquarius, Capricorn. But this is mastery. This is where she gets mastery from. Now, without a doubt, the main thing in her chart is the Pluto moon. Okay. And I've told you many times, Pluto moon is very hard to discuss. It's a very, very difficult translation to make because it's so intense. I don't know much about her mother, but usually it indicates some kind of non-healing, non-healing going on between you and the mother. Usually it's something like the mother tried to use the child's energy, the mother trying to steal the child's innocence, the mother trying to steal the child's youth. Not always, because I've seen people with Moon Pluto be just fine and their mother be fine. But it's more common than not that you see this problem. And what ends up happening, you see, when you got an opposition, I know it's hard for you to understand it. You look at it, you see it, but what does it mean? It means that Pluto is on the moon. Pluto is on the moon. At all times, Pluto is on the moon. At all times. At all times. Okay, if you're a little Pisces girl or not. This woman is intense. This woman is intense. When she has to go for a triple double, whatever, triple double whammy, that's nothing to her. But she works her way up to it, you know. So you got tremendous power. Now, I'm going to keep repeating myself to you because I think it's really important that you get this idea. A lot of the times when you have Moon Pluto or you have the opposition of any two planets, a lot of times you get the very positive results from that combination. Don't read these books that scare the hell out of you. Right, Rick? Right, Rick.
Absolutely.
Right. Don't read these books that oppositions are bad and they're going to stay with you and they'll be your downfall and it's your karma. Now, I'll tell you right now, with Moon Pluto in her chart like that, there's no doubt in her mind. She will have a fire in her house. She will have somebody die early in her house. Her mother will die early. Something like that will happen. Somebody will try to kill her while she's home sleeping. I mean, really nasty stuff will happen with Moon Pluto. It's going to happen. Now, we can only hope that it's not too bad. We can only hope that it's palatable. But she's going to get the negative side of Pluto when you have such an opposition. There's no doubt. And there's no doubt in my mind, we're getting some fuzz on somebody's microphone. Okay. Anyhow, so you're gonna get both. Now, the ones that scare you as an astrologer are the ones that have Moon Pluto and they exhibit nothing. Those are the ones that scare you. Because you ask yourself, well, what the hell's going on? You get these phenomenal universal force of Pluto hitting this very personal planet, the moon, and you're telling me nothing's happening? And a lot of people, nothing is happening. Hi, Catherine. I don't know why that is. I'm not going to venture a guess. But in her case, what it brings out is you challenge me, MF, challenge me, MFer, and the challenge is over with. It's just over as soon as you make the challenge. It's that simple. Okay. Now, when she took the time off from the Olympics, from her career, it could have been disastrous. That moon Pluto could have taken over, but she had the wisdom of the Neptune. She had the wisdom of the wisest sign that there is, Pisces. She had the wisdom, the inner wisdom to know what to do with the twisties. Brilliant. The woman's brilliant. Now we're talking about Simone Biles. Okay. So we see that. What else do we see? Beside all these lines that Zooms puts in your way so you can't read a chart. She's got Venus opposite Mars, opposite the sun. Well, anytime Venus and Mars get combined in any kind of shape, it's got to do with charisma. Charisma. You just got the charisma. When she gets up and she flashes that big smile, charisma. You can't define what charisma is. You can't show where charisma is mental and where it's physical. It's charisma. And the sun's right next to it. Sun next to Venus. So she's got a happening chart. Look at the grand trine. Look at this grand trine. I'm enamored with grand trines, how powerful they are. Mars to the moon to Neptune. So you got Mars and Neptune in the moon. Mars and Neptune in the moon. What have we seen all along when we talk about Mars, Neptune? We see people who are not allowed to be real earthy and they're forced to be spiritual, more or less. They also have the ability to be spiritual when other people don't. And right in the middle of that Mars, Neptune sits the moon, which is Plutoized. This girl has you've seen rheostats before. You turn the rheostat up or like on a motorcycle. This girl's got about 10 of them inside her. You from. And they're in a grand trine formation, which means they flow very easily. They flow very easily. And that's why she does this ridiculous stuff on the floor and on all the devices. And you're left with sitting there going, what? You'll have to excuse the old man tonight. That's just one of those things. So we have phenomenal power. This woman did not have to succeed. She could have been a stupendous failure and a stupendous crook. She's got some nasty energy in her chart.
Mars, Neptune, and the support would also give her great sense of energetic movement and the ability to stick a landing with her feet.
Oh, absolutely. And you can watch her and you say to yourself, how in the world can she do it? You could turn it down 10 times slow motion. And you still can't.
Yeah, that's a strong thing with dancers too.
Well, she certainly does, Rick. Okay. Now, let's keep looking because we're not going to be deceived by a couple of little things. Okay. Mars is next to the North Node in Virgo, giving her a phenomenal high degree of skill. The midheaven is Virgo. The midheaven, Mars in the North Node, gives her a high degree of skill. And you really need that with a spaced out Pisces. Remember, one of the main things I do when I do everybody's chart is I look to see what I've got and I start to think about what happens when they got that, what happens if they got too much of it, and what do they need to counterbalance it with. That's how I do all my charts. So you got a spaced out Pisces with moon intensely opposite Pluto. What does she need? Well, she could really use some Virgo. She could really use some intense Virgo. And I think Chiron and Scorpio sure doesn't hurt any either. This fourth house shows to me that she's very Cancerian. Why else is she very Cancerian? Why else is she very Cancerian? Because the moon is so strong. So if you were to think think that she's just hard ass or hard or tough, she's got a very soft side to her, very soft, loving side to her. Okay, now we see the Olympics going on now. We see Neptune has moved off of this trouble spot. Neptune has now moved to here. So she probably still had some trouble while Neptune was close to Mercury, but it's over 29 right now, almost going into the sign of Aries right here. Pluto sits where? Pluto sits right in the middle here. That's pretty intense. Neptune, Uranus sits in the middle of Taurus. So this is the house of her work skills. And if she's anything, by God, she appears Uranian, doesn't she? She's anything, she's just blah, 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 blah. How'd that happen? I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, Saturn. Saturn is very important in Pisces charts because that's a planet they don't know anything about. They don't understand Saturnian limitations. So you put Saturn and put it at 18. Saturn's right here now, right on Venus. And when Saturn hits that angle, that's very symbolic that she will quit. Doesn't mean she will, but the chances are very strong that she will. Because Saturn, when it comes to the bottom of the chart, is about going back home and regrouping. And one of the most common things that happens, and I get a lot of this from my friend Stephen Poplin. One of the common things that happens when Saturn hits the bottom of the chart is you have to quit what you're doing and move across the country back home with your mother to take care of her final years. Very, very common. Okay. The ones who do badly during this time are the ones that resist it. The ones who go with the flow, that understand the Lord of Karma, that understand their karmic debt to their parents, do fine and end up having things go well for them. Excuse me 1 second.
And that's so rare.
Yes, it really, really is. And the Saturn trine to Pluto, which we're discussing, is just extremely strong. If you think this little girl comes in a small package,
Yeah.
she'd probably whip your butt out in the alley. I mean, she is just tough as nails. Wonderful. Let's take a look at her sixth harmonic. See what it says. I have not looked at that. Sixth. Here it is. Okay, let's get it on your screen. The sixth harmonic is the harmonic of one's destiny, or one way of putting it is um, what you're really good at doing. Well, by God, you got Capricorn at the top. You got Venus in Capricorn. So what she's got a lot of is she's got a lot of certainty. She knows what she's doing. She's got it down. She's sure of herself. Man, you don't see that with Pisces people.
Venus is also grace. There's a
Venus
lot
is
of grace in
very,
Venus.
very graceful, yes. And then you got a lovely 11th house with Mercury, Mars, North Node, and Neptune. But the main thing I look at, here's a big T square to the moon in Aries. What this gives her is phenomenal intuition. You can't even touch this. Now, when you got somebody like this, I don't know whether I should be given an F on my report card or what, but when I look at the sixth harmonic, the main thing I look at is what's at the top. And I have found it to be very helpful and very accurate. So she got a lot of Venus and Capricorn qualities. She's doing something, she'll make sure she does it right. Now, what else do we see going on here?
She's also really aware of the fact that she is a leader for young girls
Oh, yes,
who
she is.
are watching her. And she's conscious of that.
Yeah, and that's a marvelous quality, is it not?
Mhm. Yeah.
You can just see these little girls are just eating it up, boy. Just think, put her name on the skull. My God, you get millions just from putting her name on the skull. Okay, let's go back to her charts. Okay. Now, one thing we don't do enough in here is mainly because I don't have the time. We need to do more solar arcs. What happened when she was 18, for 12 years of age, when this Mercury and Saturn ran into each other 12 degrees apart? What happened when she was 12? What happened when she was 8, 10? This Saturn sits at the middle of this. What happens when she was 37? Jupiter at Venus.
Also, there's 12 from Neptune to Jupiter.
Neptune to Jupiter, exactly. Well,
So that really emphasizes that 12-year mark because you have
it,
two things.
it definitely does. So I don't want to burden you with all these things you got to look at, these picayune things to look at, but they really work. Now, if you have not heard of No Teal, No Teal, Tyl, he's passed away now. No Teal was one of the world's greatest astrologers. He was Australian and he was a conductor. Pianist. He was a concert pianist, and an astrologer, same time. Well, he put out a book about yay thick called Solar Arcs. Solar Arcs. And when you came to see him, he had his computer all prepared. So when you sat down with him, it showed what happened when you were 5, 7, 12, 18, 20, 24, 32. It just showed all the solar arcs in order. And he had such capacity. He sit there and tell you what you did through your whole life. Unfortunately, he's not very popular. And the reason why is he's not very warm. He was not very warm uh, and loving, like you get a sense of Arroyo when you read him. But anyhow, if you do want to know more about solar arcs, then I advise you you do read no teal.
I met Notul in Hamburg.
You did.
Yeah, and he did my horoscope and was amazing. He said one point, and oh my God, yes, that's so right. That was amazing.
Well, he has this phenomenal ability to take the solar arcs and tell you exactly what happened, even halfway points when Mars crosses the halfway point between Venus and Saturn. He just does it so much, you know. He nails it. But to me, so what? Why have I got somebody coming to me and I tell them what they did? They already know what they did. My job, I think, is to help them undo where they're stuck. Let's get you unstuck. Okay, well, let's go on to the next chart.
Those things that you don't understand while you're telling them what they did, you're illuminating them to discover why they did it.
Right. Yeah, that's very true when you illuminate the meaning of the planets involved. Well, he's very, 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 very good and very astute, but somewhat distant and aloof, I would guess you might say. He was a Capricorn
With the Leo moon.
with a Leo moon, died of moon next to Pluto, died, I guess, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe. Okay, I'm glad to hear if somebody had their charts done by him. That's really intriguing. Okay, let's take a look at this woman called Taylor Swift.
Huh.
She's everywhere. I mean, if you look at photographs in magazines and on these websites, she's probably the most photographed woman in the world. Probably more photos than El Orange. I don't know.
And who
El Orange.
was that?
El Aranje.
That's the guy that has the orange complexion and
The
bullshit.
Yeti, we also call him.
Well, he used to be white, but now he says he's orange, and somebody really ought to look into that.
Okay, now, when you see the chart, what is the thing that stands out immediately when you look at the chart? Beside the Mars rising in Scorpio, what is the thing that stands out?
12th house Pluto, and then the opposition from the 2nd to the 8th. With T squared to Eris.
And the stellium and
The
Capricorn.
phenomenal, all these things are secondary. You got 8 planets pouring their energy into one Eris. This is, by the way, what Trump has. When you got such a powerful Eris in Aries, a powerful Eris in Aries, and these people are not following Eris. They're not following this planet. You tell me she's not Arisian. Tell me she hasn't just disrupted the whole music scene. She's changed everything about it. Paris both come from Wall Street. She was very ambitious. She is, and she dove into Nashville, do recordings, and learned to play guitar. So she's a phenomenal writer and singer and performer, but she's got the pizzazz. Pizzazz comes from another name for Eris is pizzazz. And these people are not even following it. Stand by now, everybody. I'm going to deliver several comments to you. Okay.
Metal frame, plastic liner, and then you put the feed in there, whatever it is.
Okay. When you have got a very strong Eris, and one of the reasons that Trump has got such magnetism, whether it's negative or not, is because he's got that Jupiter, Neptune, Chiron. those 3 planets, like I told you that Stephen Stills has. Just listen to Stephen Stills pick up guitar. And what does the guitar do? He just makes the thing buzz and come to life. He just, he's just talking to you. He's got pizzazz. Well, this woman has pizzazz. Now, when you got 8 planets in opposition to a T-square to the pizzazz, what that ends up with is pizzazz. That's what she's got. Just look at her. Just watch her. She's got super pizzazz. And these people are losing so much by not having Eris on their charts. They're trying to solve this with Pluto, Neptune, Uranus. It's not there. And wait till that Eris gets hit. Wait till planets go over it, oppose it, square it, especially when they go over it. What do we got going through Aries here soon? We got Saturn coming up. Ooh, Saturn's going to go through Aries. Wait till you see what Saturn does when it hits their Aries. Okay. So Saturn is here, getting near the end of Pisces. It's got about a year and a half yet, 2 years, 2 years. Wait till Saturn hits that point. What do you think is going to happen? We don't know, and we got to be cautious about not looking for physical events.
We might look at what happened when Saturn hit Eris the first time around the wheel.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a good idea. Now I want to give you a sharing of something that happened to me recently. I had a good friend call me about a week ago that wanted to know what would happen when Kamala Harris got near election day. Well, we know for certain all kinds of things going to happen. But in other words, she was saying to me, is she going to win or not? But she didn't want to say that. And I kept telling her, it's not the role of an astrologer to predict these kind of things. It's not our job. We know she'll be in it. We know it'll be up to her eyeballs in it and all that. But I kept trying to explain to her, it's just not something that you predict. It's something that we will watch and see how it unfolds. And she thought for sure that I was jiving her and trying to give her a hard time. So that was the end of that. So I said, I can't tell you anymore. Any question to me that starts with the word will, W-I-L-L, I cannot answer. Can you answer it? Will you win that game? Will you lose that game? Will you see that doctor? Will everything be fine? Will your mom do a triple backflip off the high dive? I don't know. We know with these planets, the propensity of people have, the propensity towards the talent towards something. But this is all the BS and the junk that's given to us from the media and from the newspapers and all this stuff about what your weekend's going to be like. Who in the hell cares about what your weekend is going to be like? Why don't you just go have your weekend and tell us on Monday? You see what they do to astrology, and I'm very grateful at the same time. I'm very grateful for that stupid daily horoscope. We wouldn't be following astrology hardly at all. So I am grateful because each one of us have a nose. We all have a nose. We all have a sun sign, and we'll follow it just because of that. Do you know how many people in 2011, this huge rumor went across the world, across the internet, that astrology had 13 signs. Everybody in the world was freaking out. Everybody was freaking out. There goes Erica with her own dialogue. Okay. Um, with these planets that come to you in opposition, I don't even know what I'm saying now. That's why I don't like people typing on my screen because I lose track of what I was saying. Okay, let's get back to the chart. Okay. Now, when you get a opposition like that, it's very common that you will get lazy and you will see this as 3 opposite 5. Well, what you really want to do is see the 3 opposite 5, but then go zooming in. Here's the 1 degree, real close to the 4 degree. So we know the moon Uranus is very unstable emotionally somehow, or super excited emotionally. You got the Jupiter at 7, you got Mercury at 1. Well, I mean, doesn't she come across as just so tremendously Sagittarian? Anything she touches is gold. And look at the Mercury in the mind opposite Jupiter. Okay, the Jupiter also is opposite Neptune, that religious symbol, which is very, very good. The Chiron is at 15, and the Chiron is opposite Saturn. And you know that has to do with having phenomenal skill sets. So then it's impossible to do. But then what you try to do is mix all this into one, mix all this into one, then you try to mix all this into one. This is where you can tell if you got a good astrologer or not. If they don't attempt to do this, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Move on from them. Now, I can't sit here and look at 9, 10 planets, tell you what it means, but I can tell you it's a tremendous power shoved towards that Eris in Aries.
I think the Mercury Jupiter opposition being so tight emphasizes her being able to communicate her self-worth from the second for business decisions and knowing how to own her power with Jupiter in the 8th and not tolerating any devaluing of herself with the T-square to Eris.
Now, when you see, like Rick is saying to you, the reason he's going into this talk about valuing yourself or not is because the second house is the house of self-value, your house of self-worth. You can see she takes this life with tremendous concern about her self-worth. She put 5 planets there. And this is other people's worth. Your worth of them, how you see you are worth when you're with them, all mixed together. But this is all about how she values herself and other people when they're all mixed together. And then what does she say about the whole issue? She says this: I'm not stepping back.
She's going to shake it off.
I'm not going to step back. I'm going to get up on stage and I'm going to do my thing and I'm going to shake the thing and I'm going to have that pizzazz. And you know yourself, some artists have pizzazz, but they're sickening. They have pizzazz, but get off the stage, will you? I don't want to see your kind of pizzazz. Not her. That's the magnetic thing about her. That's the Mercury Jupiter thing about her. But that chart is so complex with those 8 planets that you can't possibly translate it. All you can do is keep coming up with new pieces, new pieces, new pieces. And you will find that in a chart like this, it'll keep changing on you too. It'll keep changing the translation through time. Now, let's take a look here at this. Okay, now it wasn't that long ago. Uranus went through here. Uranus went through, let's see, Uranus went into Taurus. So Uranus would have been going through Aries when it was hitting all this. So Uranus was going over this point. So let's see. Let's see what happened when Uranus went over this point. It should have been a phenomenal career height. Okay, here we go back in time. There you go, 2014. So, is it fair to say that 10 years ago is when she exploded on the scene? I think it's fair to say 10 years ago. And with Uranus, it's always an explosion. Always. And it's always done in a exciting, explorative, surprising way. Now, she did go through Nashville, and that's not that uncommon. But we need to look closer at her career. But we see this whole thing blasted apart. She was blasted upon the stage. And do you know anybody, maybe McCartney, do you know anybody that's got that kind of pizzazz on stage? Mick Jagger? Yeah, I don't know anybody.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson.
Celine Dion.
In Taylor Swift's 12th harmonic, let's go back and see what makes her tick. In Taylor Swift's 12th harmonic, remember we're seeing 8 planets involved in the houses of worth and self-worth. So it's got to come from this 12th harmonic. So where's it coming from? How does this 12th harmonic show us that concern? Okay. You see the T-square. You see the T-square to Mercury in Cancer. You see a double grand trine, no, almost. See a grand trine of Moon, Venus, Neptune, Sun. So you see, she's a very spiritual woman. Sun and Sag to Moon and Venus to Neptune. The fiery planets, maybe you don't know this, maybe you do, but the fiery planets are the spiritual planets because it's the nature of fire. Fire is zest, energy, hope, excitement, life energy. So we see in her life, when as an astrologer, I have to look at this and say, well, what is my concern? What is my concern from all her past lives? What does she think God thinks is her problem? What does she think is the problem? And we got to find a reason within this chart to find out the reason that she took a new lifetime. Why? Well, the first hint you get is the Mars opposite Neptune. Okay, 20 and 15, 20 and 16. That's pretty close. What do you see here? You see a possibility in her life that maybe she felt too greedy, or maybe she felt too selfish, and maybe she needed to back off from that. We don't know yet. We see the Pluto opposite the Venus, the Pluto opposite the Moon. There's your issue. There's your issue with self-worth. This is coming from her philosophy. It's coming from not how she feels, it's coming from how she is taught to feel, what she thinks the rules are. So she's taught that she's got a tendency to be selfish when she acts upon herself. She's taught that she's got quite a tendency to get her self-worth all mixed up. So what does she do in this lifetime? Boom! Put 8 planets in the T-square to Chiron or to Eris and Aries. And I ask you this question. This is just so unbelievable to me, which is why I have to shout.
I'm pretty sure the same one. that I-
What do you think this chart would be like without this Eris? What do you have? You got 8 planets in opposition. You don't have them focused anywhere. They're not going anywhere. And when you got them going to Eris and Aries, you got her making her mind up in this lifetime that she ain't going to put herself down. She's not going to hold herself back. So when you see a chart like this, I think you even get to the point where you start to wonder, did she really have to come back? Did she have to? And I think you see that a lot with charts. You see charts of people who come back to help the masses. Look what she's doing for young women and youngsters all across the world.
I will say I didn't appreciate her as much until this.
Oh, yeah, right,
Looking at that 12th harmonic,
right.
because it looks to me, number one, Eris is fresh perspective. It's what, less than 20 years that it's been here? 19 years?
That's right.
And
19 years.
the 12th harmonic shows that that grand trine is catalyzed into being a kite because of Eris and Pluto. Eris and Pluto together, if I'm not mistaken, are pointing to the moon Venus, suggesting she is coming into this incarnation to raise the value of women.
Exactly.
That's the 12th harmonic message.
And that's the voice of Eris. Eris is here to fight for women.
And it's in the house of the entertainer in her natal chart. That's her platform.
Well, that's a very good point. Let's take a look at her 5th harmonic. Excuse me, that's her entertainment house. Entertainment harmonic. We see the moon is very, very strong. The sun is strong. We see pretty much a bucket, kind of a bucket, to the sun, which is in Scorpio. I mean, the girl's just got pizzazz. And when you're watching her, you say to yourself, where does the pizzazz come from?
Again, the second house, Mercury, Jupiter, the way it is in the natal, is flipped around, and the 5th house ends up getting the emphasis with the sun. It is her soul.
And she's got the sun opposite Pluto here.
Yeah.
Which is 6 degrees away. But the fifth harmonic, I found this harmonic to be very accurate in describing the inner nature of the entertainer. So we got Aries at the top. So I think you're right, Rick. I think a lot of what she's doing is Aryan. I think a lot of what she's being victorious about is she's saying, I'm putting myself forward and I'm taking you with me. And boy, if that doesn't sound like Eris, I think we're really discovering some major things here. She's not like Eva Cassidy or some of the great singers of all time that just blow you away with their vocal abilities. but she's got the entertainment. Let me entertain you. Cause that
It's presence too.
presence, a very, very good word for it. Yes.
And I think the flack she takes is because she stands in positions that if a guy was doing it, they'd get away with it. But because she's a girl, they want to challenge from the
Well,
patriarchal
I
view.
think you're right.
And
You all
she's
should
letting women
watch.
know they can be free.
Yes, you should watch at some point. I never cared for Taylor Swift, and then a few years ago, they released a documentary, a whole new respect for her. Oh my gosh, she's got such a brain that, and her, you're right. When you watch her talk, she is all about her self-worth, and nobody shakes her. In other words, the press will ask her, people will push her to say things she's like, I am who I am, and you're not going to tell me who I am. I know who I am. But she does it in a nice way. She's not offensive or anything. And she's very serious about being very good to her fans. I mean, very good to her fans. And she kind of walks the talk as far as that goes. But the writing, because she writes her music, it's like, oh my God, it's like she's a machine. It just flows out of her.
Well, you can see why.
It's kind
You can see why.
Yeah, yeah.
These are
There's a
all
part
very
of the
good,
documentary.
very good insights so far. Any people have any other thoughts? We could see, let's take a look at her solar return. Where does she reside? In Nashville, I would think.
And she
Okay.
was 14. She went to Nashville when she was
What's that?
14. She went to Nashville when she was 14.
Okay. Okay, Nashville. All right, let's do her return. Let's do Nashville. Hey, you look up what happened to her 10 years ago, because 10 years ago is when Uranus went over that point.
Happened to know she was in New York City for her birthday, though. In the
Well,
last term.
okay, there we go. Now, first thing that comes to my mind, whenever you see Saturn at the midheaven, it's time for her to start the Taylor Swift Foundation, period. That's what that means. She's going to be the manager of it. She's going to be the brain trust. I mean, she's going to do her music, but what she's going to do, you can only get so high so long, unless you're Mick Jagger and you're Leo, and you just keep getting accolades till you're 80 years of age. Now, this Saturn at the top of the chart, it's exactly what you all have been saying tonight. She's going to see the benefit of having not backed down. She sees the benefit of having placed herself forward. She's behind women. She's going to deliver us all to Eris single-handedly. It's going to happen. It's going to come through her. This woman is an archetype of energy, an avatar of energy.
That's what it feels like.
It's not even an individual we're looking at. Of course we are, but we're seeing it from the 12th harmonic, and we're seeing it onward. She is an avatar of, hey, let's bring it together. And we all know one thing right now. We all know two things right now. Two. We're in a heap of trouble, and the men are the ones that got us here. We're in a heap of trouble, and the women are going to have to get us out. My guarded, humble opinion, and she is one of the forces. I don't know. I've not picked apart her lyrics. I don't know what she says, but I'm sure she's saying in her song lyrics. But what is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is the cheerleader. She's come to us as a cosmic avatar, a cheerleader that we need at this time. Okay, your thoughts and opinions, everybody. Your thoughts, your opinions, your insights. You've all been very good so far. Very, very good, very insightful. I don't want to pick the chart apart anymore. I mean, I've seen enough in it. Your
I think
thoughts-
everyone should listen to her songs because the words are so great and she's preaching, with her words, and she's, putting into words that strong spirit of Eris that you're talking about. I was really surprised because I thought, oh, Taylor Swift, teeny boppers, I don't really have, I don't have time for music, and there's like so many, I still like the classical stuff and the Beatles and the Grateful Dead and all that kind of stuff. But when I started listening to her music, I thought, wow, she really is a feminist. She's not just beautiful and powerful and unapologetic, but she's really rocking the feminism in a modern way and a great role model.
And another thing I want to say about her is that I've said this to men in the past and they disagree with me vehemently. When you're a feminist, you're really a lifist. You're really a humanist. Because the things that you're really trying to bolster with the feminine race, you're trying to bolster it for men too. But men reside in this seventh grade mentality with their bean shooter. Remember those?
Right.
Let's get your thoughts on this, Miss Sweet Catherine. Let's get your thoughts on this. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted. Hi.
Yeah.
One of my granddaughters liked her. So a few years ago, that granddaughter is going to be 21. So there were a few songs that we'd sing in the car that were fun when my granddaughter was younger and Taylor was younger. And then I saw her become powerful businessman when there were things she did like I don't know exact people's names, but she changed how the music industry didn't pay her, and she wouldn't put her music on Spotify. And this is minor, but I loved it. She received some Grammy award or something, and I caught part of it where Kanye West a bunch of years ago.
Oh yeah, he took it from him.
Yeah, did some jerky thing, and I thought she was elegant, smart, fast on her feet, and he ended up being the jerk he was because she didn't lose any grace in the moment. And I always
she got too much.
Yeah, and so she just
Too much.
I think she got kind of back to him later without being violent or very negative, but smart. So I always enjoyed that from afar. Haven't really paid much attention to her songs, but I was in Charlotte with my sister, and I said, we have to see this movie. So we went to the movies when it was of her concert, when it was about 9 or 10 at night, and in a theater in Charlotte, North Carolina. And there we go. My sister had to buy these tickets and all that. So we get in there and it's pretty jammed up. But I kind of couldn't get over that it wasn't a lively audience. It's people at 10 o'clock at night. So it's mostly adults. But these two girls came running over to us at the end as I was leaving the theater. I was in about row 3. And she wanted to put the friendship bracelets on me and let me know that she loved me. And the girl was just at the end of my row. And I was just bouncing to the beat of the songs. You know, it wasn't like standing up going crazy because there weren't any children there or younger kids. And I just remember I wore the bracelet around the whole time in Charlotte. And it was like, she's contagious. And
That's a good word, yeah.
and I get a kick out of that. Everything that you said previously. She is she's kind of for humanity, not just females. And you could almost take it as silly, like junior high or 5th grade stuff with the bracelets and everything. But even guys want a bracelet, and I hear
Yeah,
them
but can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see how if you don't have a chart like that, you're not going to be able to pull this off?
Right, and she does pull it off on
She
top of
does
it all.
pull it off, yeah.
Costume wise, just body wise, she looks like a model.
Oh
So
my God, she's beautiful.
it's high
Stunning.
fashion. So if she comes out on the street, she just has to throw on whatever she throws on, but it's
Yeah.
magazine ready.
Last night's sheet. But yeah, you're exactly right.
And the other thing about her is I'm a little baffled about the boyfriend now. That seems almost teenagery. And
Well, he's also a Libra male. Remember that?
okay, I'm a little bit
He's a Libra male. What does that mean?
that kind of threw me a little. And her
Oh,
secret
sure
was,
it did.
well, her
Because
secret,
it's inauthentic. That's why.
I think so. And
Sure
her,
it is.
it's
He
a
wants to
show.
be seen. He wants to be seen with the greatest arm candy ever.
Right.
That's what he
However,
is.
his real nature isn't her real nature.
No,
He's
no,
not elegant to me.
no,
And
no.
and then I
No,
didn't enjoy, to tell you the truth, her writing songs about guys she used to go out with in a negative way because I'm not big on kiss and tell. I don't admire that at all, personally.
You're a classy woman. That's all.
I'm a classy gal.
You're
And
just a classy woman. That's all there's to it.
And then also,
John, join us here.
I thought it was really weird when she had the boyfriend in England and never showed her face in public. And then afterward, we read about it was pandemic, and she writes horrible things about this human being. Not
And
elegant.
John writes that her boyfriend's from Cleveland.
Ooh.
Come on, let's just hear what you got to say, Dr. John.
Those are just my personal opinions.
They're very good, Catherine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, I was just chiming in. Hey Rick, hey everybody. And I'm late jumping in, but I was just thinking of the Kelsey brothers and all. Yeah, they're characters.
Phenomenal player.
That totally resonates though, Catherine. I think that it does seem a little bit manufactured. Like watching the Super Bowl, of course, he's the superstar, he wins and all, and then she's there, and it's like the big Hollywood American story and all, and it does seem a little bit too just like fairy tale like.
Doesn't feel genuine.
Like not authentic. Yeah, I get that vibe too.
Contrived.
The what? Oh, no, drive the car.
Contrived.
Oh, contrived. Yeah. It's for the camera,
but not on our end.
Absolutely.
It's branding.
It's what, honey?
Yeah.
It's branding.
Yeah.
Branding, right. Right.
And all the Swifties are crazy about him, of course, because he's, Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Well, he's a phenomenal tight end. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, good, John. Thank you for chipping in. That was very good. Rick?
Oh yeah, I'll be around.
That's what we want is you floating around in circles. Yeah. Rick, any other ideas?
I think we really hit on some really great stuff.
We did.
I'm not seeing anything that was missed.
Well, let me add to what you're saying. What you're saying there. It's really easy to debunk astrology. Most astrologer people that are anti-astrology say they're anti-astrology because it just can't work. Well, why can't it work? Because it can't work. Well, why can't it work? Because it can't work. Because these planets are up there and far away. How could they have an impact on you? Is their magnetism is very weak? It's got nothing to do with that. It's got all to do with quantum mechanics. We are in the quantum age. Tonight was an outrageous example of two very classical women who are just astounding. And I can't say what's them and what's the chart. What's them
I
and
think
what's the
the
chart?
when you
What's the
say skeptics, I
what?
think the skeptics just look at sun signs.
That's right.
And that's good for wrapping fish and lining bird cages.
I would love to see more studies of the sixth harmonic to show, people picking their direction in life. I think that would be very interesting.
Well, we're going to do that, honey. And remember the thing we just saw about Taylor Swift. It's time for the Taylor Swift Foundation. She's going to put into place a foundation that works, that's unlike any other foundation ever, that's optimistic. It's going to be women led. It's going to knock guys on their butt because they need to be knocked on their butt, knock them out for a while, actually. And what is she going to do? Well, ask yourself. If you're starting a foundation now, what could it be about? We're this close to the end. What could that foundation? What?
Could we also compare with charts of people who tried hard but never made it? To see what sixth harmonic story that might tell?
That's a real dare. That's a real dare. That's not an easy one there.
Yeah, because if they didn't make it, they may not have the notoriety to have their chart public.
A million reasons why they couldn't have made it. A million reasons. You can't, in my estimation, you can't even do that. In other words, what you're looking at is you're looking at the exception. You have to be thinking in your mind, this girl's exceptional.
Right.
Well, what is it about her that's an exception?
And so who else would have been born around the same time on the same day, and what did they do?
Well, timing is also part of the factor to elevate the specifics into angularity to give it the strength.
Right.
Or if not the angularity, the meaning of the axis, like the second and eighth.
That's right. And also the parents.
Right. Well, those are chosen to fit the mold.
So there might be a lot of people with the same aspects who did not accomplish.
Correct.
She's not there because of her aspects. She's there because of her whole history in her 12th harmonic and what she chose to do in this one. Because you can obviously see in this one, she did not take this lifetime as a penalty.
Two, you have to keep in mind,
She
there are
didn't do
two
it.
different souls that enter into twins. They have virtually the same chart. What makes them different is the soul they bring into this picture with them. And finding the nuances of difference requires a keen eye.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to tell you is you're not getting tidbits of astrology in this show. You're getting major, major chunks of truth that most Americans don't even see.
A lot of people don't look at the upper corner to find out what day of the week somebody was born on. But we had a birth out of Ohio, I think it was this past January, that had twins delivered, one born December 31st, the second born January 1st. Changes their numerology, changes their day of birth, the energies of which planet is going to be emphasized by that. There's so much that changes, even if it's
Oh,
just
Rick, you're so good. You should be working. You should be working on a national level.
thank you.
You should be working on a national level. And I'm not jiving you or trying to warm you up. John agrees with me. Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
we looked at Rick's solar return. He's about to have a birthday and he's on his way.
Yeah. I have a
He's
lot of
on-
things in the works. I'll be sure to let everybody know what's
Well,
happening.
please do, because I'm getting tired. I'm really getting tired. I'm really
Hey.
doing, I'm doing my best, but I'm approaching show number 400. And I'm not sure, but I'm thinking about ending things then.
Ah,
I'm
What-
not sure. I'm running out of gas. Besides going through chemo and all that, maybe I can get it perked up a little more in the next few weeks. But we're only 13 weeks away from show 400. By the way, show 400 will be emceed by my friend Deneen Jr.
oh,
Wow.
So she will be talking about going into your past and solving things with your ancestors, etc. And I mean, what an amazing little group we've got here.
oh,
Yeah.
I did remember one thing about Taylor that I would share. If anybody wants to take a look at her chart from public resources and plug in Pallas Athena, it is the warrior goddess of wisdom and war. And I feel like it is the most masculine of the feminine goddesses.
Have you done it?
No, I didn't. I'm just telling you, it's going to show us something
Oh, let's
interesting.
go do it. All right, let's go do it. See, that's the beauty of this show. So you want to do it? You go do it. There she is. Displayed points.
Oh, there she is up top. You passed her up. She's above Juno. There she is at 28 degrees Pisces.
What to tell you? Trying to the ascendant.
Well,
Trying to Mars.
oh, that's beautiful. Talk
It is.
about knowing how to go to war and keep peace.
Trying to Mars and Scorpio too. I mean, there's so much pizzazz just putting your shoes in the sign of Scorpio.
Yeah. That's definitely intriguing. What would a harmonic show with it?
I don't know, but you guys are gonna have to help me out because I'm running out of gas in my vocal cords. What did the harmonics show?
Yeah.
We meet her 12th.
Yeah, start there.
Just keep going.
Okay, here it is.
Oh, it's right
Ah.
with the sun in the 8th.
That's Simone Biles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I tried to slip that past you, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
You know that she is 4'8"?
Yeah.
I believe she's 2'1", whatever she does.
Her boyfriend said when he first saw her, he got scared. He was looking out of his truck and he looked down at her and he went, "Oh my God, you're so small."
Hey, well, whatever she's got to do. All right, there you go, Rick.
Another Piscean energy at 8 degrees. It's in trine loosely to both Jupiter and Mercury, again showing wisdom with that 12th.
Trying to the North Node.
Oh, and it's sextile to Uranus, the rebel.
And it's opposite Saturn and Virgo.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, Saturn was definitely involved in all the wars in the Greek generations. He was the
Okay.
hero of the old war and the one who was the villain in the next war.
Okay, everybody, let's start to wrap things up, but I want to do so by saying this to you. What you're seeing tonight is not happenstance.
Right.
What we're seeing is not happenstance. We've seen thousands of charts and we still get blown away by it. Okay? This woman is an avatar to bring about the Taylor Swift Foundation. Knowing her, she may not even want it named after her. It doesn't matter. But she is the voice of us that's just fed up with all the junk. And what's the planet that's fed up with all the junk is Eris. And maybe some other astrologers will listen to this show and start putting that little symbol on their chart. But thank you for powers, Rick. That was very good. Everybody, I'm going to check out here. I'll talk with you next week. Thank you for joining us, John, and everybody else.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Rick.
everybody.
Look at all those
Yeah.
hearts.
We
Look
all
at the hearts.
appreciate that you bring us together, Rick.
You
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
welcome.
We love you, Rick.
Thank you.
Yeah,
love
we
We
do
love
love
you.
you.
I love you all too. I love you all
Take care
too.
of yourself.
Night, Rick.
Yeah, well, I'm trying very hard and I got a real good helper. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Good
Good
night,
morning.
everybody.
Take care, everyone.